Picture this. You're a small child watching some cartoons right before you go to bed. All of a sudden, some new ass anime comes on. This shit is crazy. Your 10-year-old brain can't fathom how fucking awesome this shit is. So right after you're finished watching that, you have to find out what this is. So you rush down to your Windows XP desktop and look up epic anime fights. And now you're glued to your screen. Now what you just saw is an all too common story that chronicles a child's descent into anime. Hell, that's how I got into anime. But something in this process goes unexamined. The anime community of today, as large as it is not primarily known for these epic hunters anymore. Although I will admit, there are still a lot of meatheads around. But what people really know the anime community for, especially before it became socially acceptable to be a part of it, was a very particular kind of person. Easy to spot, but hard to name. I am of course talking about what an outsider would call an anime addicted freak. Now the classical term for these types of people would be a weeaboo, shortened to weeb, and derived from the archaic term Wapanese. Whatever you want to call them, they are known as the dregs of society, and that reputation is not wholly unearned. But their existence poses an interesting question. How do people get here? I mean, the difference between the casual anime watcher and the Reddit waifu warrior is massive, to the point where you could even consider them different species. So how do people devolve into such base behavior? Well, it's quite simple. Anime does this by design, not by accident. The medium is a black hole trying to drag you from the normal world to anime hell. But how does a pipeline work? Well, we're gonna have to start from the top.
By the way, you're doing great for your first day.
So the first level is where everyone starts. This level is where you still don't really know what anime is, but you think it's cool and want to watch more. Most likely, you're watching anime by chance. It appeared on TV, your streaming service recommendations, or a friend recommended it to you. Either way, you didn't seek this out, but you didn't hate what you saw. So most likely, you're gonna go look for something. However, at this stage, you're still likely to be a well-adjusted person, and probably would not even describe yourself as an anime fan. As such, your tolerance for anime bullshit is not very high. Now what is anime bullshit? Put simply, anime bullshit is a collection of tropes widely used in the medium that would make a non-watcher feel uncomfortable. Examples of this anime bullshit would be character design, various miscellaneous gasps, the Japanese language, a weird fixation on high schoolers, and especially fan service scenes. Some people would call this a pleb filter. We will get to them later in the video. But before I acknowledge these levels, I have to also acknowledge that not everybody is going to go down there. There are many very normal people that will never go past the mainstream. However, these people are boring, so I'm done talking about them.
Oh no, I'm falling!
Getting deeper into the anime landscape, you start to get accustomed to it. Now, you're learning your way around the medium. You start to like anime, and not just shows that happen to be anime. And with that newfound interest, you start going to sites that are specifically for anime. Now you're actively hunting for anime, not just shows that happen to be anime. And as such, you can go a little deeper down the rabbit hole. Instead of just being railroaded into whatever hot anime people are talking about, you decide, I'm gonna click on that random 13-episode anime quietly airing this season right under the big dogs. And if you like it, you'll decide, hey, this is pretty good. I'm gonna build my base around this. So you start to expand, look for anime outside the beaten path, because eventually you'll get tired of the mainstream. If you're getting to this level, you probably like a little bit of adventure, so you decide to explore outside of the boundaries. That timid rookie waiting for anime to just happen to them is no longer. Now, you're actively hunting for it. However, you're not a seasoned veteran just yet. You sought out the forbidden fruit of knowledge, but like your forefathers Adam and Eve, newfound knowledge comes with newfound shame. So you work hard to hide that source of shame. At this point, you've delved a little deeper into the anime medium, and with that comes the awareness that you probably couldn't recommend some of this to a normal person. Accompanied with that is a frightening realization that you may not be normal anymore. Two paths lay in front of you at this stage. You can either keep talking about the anime you watch, regardless of the impact it may have on your character, or you can hide what you watch, concealing your power level while talking about normal things like Euphoria and The Office. Either way, both of these roads lead to the same destination:
Loser! You're a loser! Are you feeling sorry for yourself? Well, you should be, because you are dirt!
Congratulations! After digging deeper, you are now an entrenched anime fan, same as those Reddit and Twitter freaks right next to you. Here is where you start keeping up with current anime manga, and this is pretty unavoidably going to lead you to be involved with the anime community. Now earlier in the video I talked about anime freaks and how they got such a bad rap that their interest was deemed unfit for civilized society. And I am now coming back to the topic to tell you it is completely deserved. Because this is a level where you can start to really see how they earned this reputation. Because this level is the first time you can really see people use anime as a surrogate for a personality. Of course, not everyone at the level is like this, but enough of them are that you will have to go through the misfortune of interacting with these people at some point. You may even find yourself, for a time, aligning with them. However, if you have an internal monologue or any other hints of sentience, then you probably won't be in this stage for very long. What can't be denied is at this point, you're now at the point where anime is becoming a regular fixture in your life. It might not be the main thing you do, it might not even be top 3 things you do, but if I put you against 100 people on the street and test your anime knowledge against every single one of them, you probably win a lot more than you don't. The fact of the matter is, you got a lot more in common with people like this than you like to think. You're gonna be a bit of a veteran at this point. For starters, anime bullshit, which you may have previously been very squeamish to, now does not faze you in the slightest. In fact, you may have reached a point where me calling it anime bullshit instead of fan service gets you mad. Also, if I look in your room hard enough, I will find bits and pieces of anime merchandise scattered throughout your room. In addition, you may have come up with a severe case of thinking these kinds of jokes are funny. Now, if you fall in that last category, I don't really harbor any ill will to you, no harm, but if you were dying on the road right in front of me, I would not help you. But regardless of my personal opinions, all of these kinds of people have something in common. They're all now firmly entrenched in the anime sphere. But there's a very notorious subgroup of people here that you may start to notice or even join for a time. Most of the people in this group are about watching seasonals and have most likely entrenched themselves into the anime community. Unfortunately, this combination of factors has given them the attention span of houseflies. They see a trend and mindlessly hop onto it until they're the reason it breaks. They're on the tail end of the innovation curve. When they start appearing, you better sell any stock you had in that property quick before you go bankrupt. There seems to be an abundance of people stuck in this stage, and none of them really feel real. Some of them can't process any kind of humor or emotion without attaching an anime reaction image to it, and a lot of them have the obsession of saying one super popular anime owns another super popular anime in popularity, and a lot of them seem to enjoy anime that requires a lobotomy before viewing. But what seems like an endless army of these people is actually really just new blood en masse. These people likely won't stay there for very long, but right when one leaves, another one comes right up to take their place. But if you're outside of that machine at this stage, a lot of people are still pretty certain that they are normal about anime, regardless of how much they actually care about that designation. But inside or outside the seasonal machine, you may be liable to lose that designation.
No life nerd who's never gotten pussy before in his entire life.
At some point, you'll have exhausted a lot of what the casual anime fan sees. Not all of it, mind you, but enough to the point where you can't only consume that. You can only take so many seasonals before you start to lose your mind. So you go out hunting. It doesn't matter where you hunt, it doesn't matter what you hunt. The end point is the same. You're trying to be different. Eventually, you grow from just someone who watches anime to the anime guy, especially the people that interact with you. Everybody around you starts asking recommendations from you. And you start feeling good about it. You start thinking, oh damn, I know this anime shit. You start to believe your own hype a little too much. You start going into your elitist phase. Now, elitist territory is where you start getting into real shit. If you're here, you start to pride yourself on your anime addiction. In at least one phase of your life, this is your primary personality trait that you talk to everybody in that group about. Now, you don't do this for everyone you see, unless you're a socially maladjusted freakazoid, which admittedly is not all that uncommon amongst these people. But even for the more normal passing people, it might still be a struggle to hide that giant fucking power level. At some point, giving out those aforementioned recommendations becomes kind of a terrifying affair, because if a normal person asks, you have to hold yourself back from suggesting something that they may like, but also may make you look very weird. I mean, that isn't to say that anything you would suggest would be an exilable offense or something, but what you're really afraid of is that you don't really know the line between decent and indecent anymore for anime. Now you've reached a point where you're so jaded by anime conventions that another panty shot or beach episode is kinda like watching Frank Gore run up the gut anytime in the 2010s. You know exactly what you're gonna get. You know it's gonna be ugly as shit. And to a casual viewer, it makes no sense. Why do they keep letting this happen? But you, as a seasoned viewer, can appreciate how fucking long they've been doing this for. But in your appreciation, you forget that the 3 people you invited to watch with you don't exactly appreciate that that's fucking football right there. None of that pansy-ass, dick-tugging, smile for the camera bullshit. Men puke, men poop on the field, men deliver their newborn baby on the sidelines. Fucking hardcore dick-in-the-ass, butterball, foosball, fucking chucking game time shit. They couldn't appreciate anything like that. No way! So of course, how could these people even come close to appreciating bad, atrociously outdated anime tropes? They just don't get it. It's just par for the course. It's part of the experience. Nobody seems to have the seasoning anymore for this kind of stuff. Nobody except for you. Now you gotta come to a crossroads. Are you actually the problem? This stage probably takes the longest out of every single one of these stages to get to, but that's because it takes more than just sinking deeper into the quicksand of anime. It actually requires a bit more thought than whatever the hell you were doing before. You finally start to think for yourself a little bit, because at this point, it's been long enough where you've had time to kind of contemplate who you are in this space. Not in any kind of overly existential way, but a few thoughts might pop into your head, such as, am I actually weird? Do I actually take anime too seriously? And do I really need to keep mentioning that Sailor Moon can beat Goku every single time Goku comes up? I mean, it's not like you could just shut up about it. All these people around you missing out on this raw, Kino, pinnacle, 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10, peak fiction. There's no way you could have just stopped chirping about that shit, but you're trapped in that genjutsu. You gotta open your eyes. Maybe it was a few too many all-nighters, a little much in the online arguments, and a couple $100 on anime figures too late, but you gotta smack your face and realize you probably need to tone it down a little bit. Have some social awareness, man, because it's fine anyway. Not everyone needs to know about your favorite stuff. In fact, on the long road you took getting here, you've no doubt seen the many demented figures that populate the anime community, and at a certain point, you have probably begrudgingly shared a common interest with them. Except they enjoy it in a way that makes your skin crawl. It makes you ashamed to put yourself under the same umbrella as them for various reasons. But at the top of these reasons is probably because you kind of see yourself in one of these people. That awareness kind of disgusts you, drives you to maybe change yourself. Knowing that there are people like this out there, maybe you shouldn't be sticking out your neck like them. I mean, it's not like people can just avoid about hearing anime anymore at this point, so maybe you have the chance to lay off a little bit. Sure, it's not like you can just end your anime phase whenever you want. Some people just never had the brainworm leave the brain. But you can certainly stop yourself from looking like a complete idiot. It might take months, years, or even a decade or two, but eventually, you can learn to grow up, pussy.